Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kayla, for those of you who don't know me, and I got a message for you today. And today's message is basically the universe telling you that you can have anything that you want. Today's date is 4/2, or 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. If you're familiar with Douglas Adams' work. And yeah, I got a really interesting spread this morning. I had to come back and do this video a little later because I got caught up doing a bunch of other stuff, and kind of happened to me yesterday when I was doing my message as well. So I think there's a little aspect of like divine timing, like you may be wanting to like force things to happen quickly, especially with us going into springtime and the new astrological year and Aries season and everything else in fire signs. But like there's this little aspect of like patience. Like you don't have to try that hard. That your gifts are coming to you regardless of what you do. I had a reading like this the other day. It's basically like you don't have to do anything at this point. You've kind of already done the work, and you've made the right choices. I got the Seven of Cups card again, like I did yesterday, except this time it's more in the position of like what you've done rather than the energy around you, and you've made the right choices, and God has seen that, and you're basically going to be rewarded. What I got for your card, you are the Ten of Pentacles. This is you. And also at the bottom of the deck, it's not in my spread, but I like to look at the bottom of the deck after I pull all the cards too, is the Ten of Cups. So that's like, the two most abundant cards in the deck. The Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. You've got emotional and financial material wealth just, coming out the ass. And it's because you've been this magician. You've been transmuting these energies. You've been doing this work for years, some of you. And it's finally starting to pay off. We're seeing a ton of transformations happening right now. A lot of big endings, a lot of new beginnings. We're seeing the collapse of just a bunch of old stuff around the world. And one of the other major themes that I've gotten in this reading is one of the choices that you've made is basically kind of choosing like an official path to go down. It's up to you to decide your path. We're not just floating around, just, taking whatever the universe throws at us without any decision or any say in it. And that's one of the big things that's collapsing around us is those old structures, those old hierarchical, patriarchal, kind of overly rigid structures and institutions that try and control you, try and tell you what you can and can't do. You're free. And I'm getting kind of on the whole left side of my spread, I got all these cards of just kind of sitting and waiting. I got Seven of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the Two of Swords. And they're all just kind of sitting there waiting. None of them are looking directly at us. The Queen and the Seven of Pentacles are kind of just sitting, looking off to the side and down, and not very, authoritative, I guess you could say. And then the Two of Swords is blindfolded. She's not seeing anything. Whereas I got, along with the Magician, who's looking straight forward, I also got the King of Swords and the Empress. And all three of them are looking straight at us. They know what they want. They've made the choice. They know their power. And they're not afraid to wield it. And another interesting thing is I feel like the choice that you've made is the choice of love. Going against the evil, I hate to use the word satanic because, that has kind of a misconstrued image in our society. There's a lot more to the satanic energy than just evil. But all of them have their object in their right hand. Whereas all of the other cards that I just showed, they're all holding their objects in both hands. Like they haven't decided which path to take yet. And another thing relating to these objects that I found interesting is just like there's so many different tools and paths and options laid out in this spread, aside from just the Seven of Cups, which is the obvious one, 7 totally different options, but also just all of the different tools that are being wielded. I also got the Five of Wands, which is basically like, it's time to take action. It's time to get involved. Kind of like the Bhagavad Gita teaches us, where like, open war is upon you, whether you'd risk it or not, to quote Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. But it's like, this war is happening. You can't just sit it out. You have to play the game. And you gotta kind of choose a side, or a side will be chosen for you. And it's a lot better to have that autonomy and to choose for yourself. But there's all these different tools. We've got the swords, we've got the wands, we've got the rake or the hoe or whatever this guy's holding. Doesn't really make sense that it'd be a hoe at harvest time, but whatever. Farming problems. We got the Queen of Cups holding her very, very ornate cup that is, different to all these plain cups here in the 7. And we've got the Magician holding his little wand, or whatever you want to call it, that's different from the big staff wands that we see in the suit of wands. Plus, he's got all 4 suits available to him to work with. And then lastly, we've got the Empress holding her little scepter. So there's like all these different tools. And one of the messages I'm getting to is discerning, that 7 of Cups energy again, using your discernment to know which tool to use at the right time. It's nice to have a bunch of tools, but if you don't know which ones to use for what situations, it doesn't help you at all. And kind of going back to that idea of needing to pick a side and needing to play the game and fight the battles and take part in the action is, there's a lot of different schools of thought in the spiritual world that, talk about kind of the ultimate goal of life or of the spiritual path is this like eternal enlightened state where you're like kind of just opting out of everything. And while that's certainly an achievable state that not many people come to in their life, that's not the goal. After enlightenment, you still got to chop wood and carry water. Still got to do the work. The real spiritual path begins when you come back down, ground yourself, and start playing the game again with the knowledge that you have. And I'm thinking of schools of thought like Advaita Vedanta and Kashmir Shaivism, where it's like I'm not discounting the ideas that these states exist and that like non-duality is a thing. It very much is. However, while you're still in this human body, walking around on Earth, interacting with other people, it doesn't really do you any good. Like, okay, it's nice to know that this exists, this realm beyond duality, but that's not the point of living. We're in these bodies, we're experiencing this dualistic world to experience the dualistic world. And clinging to those like non-dual, who's talking, who's doing the thinking, who's doing this, nobody is, ideas, they're not really practical at all in any area of life, unless you literally want to just be like, oh my god, his name is escaping me right now. Maharishi, the guy who literally just like, sat around and did absolutely nothing once he attained enlightenment. Like, unless you want to be one of those people that literally just does nothing with the rest of your life, you kind of have to use some tools. You kind of have to face reality. And we're getting hit with a lot of reality in the world right now. And it's important to have these tools. Not just tarot, not just your own spiritual practice. Astrology is great. Just a quick shout out to Timothy Halloran, there's no O there, with Rasa Leela Healing. If you're into astrology and you don't know him or his channel, get over there. He's the best astrologer out there, no BS. Tells it like it is. He's been doing it for a long time, and he really deserves a lot more support and recognition than he gets, because he works his ass off. But I think that's what's nice about these spiritual communities and tarot readings and astrology and everything like that, is just, it's preparing us for the realities that we have to face in the world. I feel like the spiritual community, like the real, true spiritual community, definitely has a leg up in what's unfolding and about to unfold in the world. Because most people still think like we're, this war that's happening, or the economic crisis, or, the whole Epstein thing, like, is just this kind of little blip thing, like COVID, it'll just go away in a little bit. Like, no, everything that's happened this decade so far, including COVID, is just like the appetizer course. Shit is absolutely about to hit the fan worldwide, and most people are not going to be prepared at all for it. And I don't know. I don't really know where else I'm going with this, but I think ultimately it's time to choose love. The energies of hate and domination and control and authoritarianism and rigidity, and everyone has to look the same, act the same, think the same. That's all dying off. And so it's time to choose love and make this world and this reality what you want it to be. We can't just like think up a fantasy world and all of a sudden it's going to be there. But what you can do is not let all of the crazy, scary shit going on around the world affect you so much. You don't have to watch the news every day. You don't have to doom scroll on Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. You can just choose to build community and to love and to trust in God that you will be okay. Doesn't mean everyone is going to be okay, but you will. And yeah, with that, I think I'm going to leave it here. So I love you all, and I will see you next time. Bye.